say is crashing the internet. Everybody's given so much time and energy right now. Live streaming all of their organizations.
I love it.
Well, hey, Marty, it is Giving Tuesday.
Yes.
And today we have GoFundMe board members, Michelle Johnson and Tommy Gallagher with us tonight. And
that's awesome.
Did I pronounce that correctly? I probably did. I hope. Yeah, we're all good. Yes, we're all good. And I've never met Tommy or Michelle in person, but I've seen them both professionally out there in the world in magazines. And I'm just like, this is kind of like, I feel like we, every week we have really awesome guests and it's just not stopping. It's like, I'm getting more and more excited about, whoa, we've got some really cool people on. So
yeah.
But not only that, this is GoFundMe this week. And it's an organization that I found out about a month or so ago while on a call with the Specialty Coffee Association's U.S. chapter, as I am the North Central Regional Coordinator for the U.S. chapter of the Specialty Coffee Association. That's a really long title, and we got to change it to like SCA us or something like that, SCUS or something. But no, there's some great people there. We're just trying to figure out like how do we connect with each other and kind of like get this U.S. chapter off the ground. So yeah, so there's that, and we're going to talk about that later. And I've got a ton of questions for you today. I'm just going to stop. My mom's like, hey, let other people talk. So Marty,
John, back up just a little bit. How are you doing? You doing all right? How was your week?
Yeah, I think the half a beer is settling in. We're getting over the technical difficulties.
Excellent. Yeah.
I'm feeling like I get a hold of a second chance to this episode.
Little bump.
Yeah.
We're good. We're good.
This week was busy. I had to drive around a lot. I got some new masks. These masks are awesome. These are like the Kova Flu KN95s.
Wow. Super duper.
And if you subscribe to our YouTube, if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you don't get one of these, but we give $1 to GoFundMe. Isn't that cool?
No, that's great. A little PSA. Be safe out there, everybody.
Yeah.
Be safe.
Yeah. How are you, Marty? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Doing good. It's a crazy week. I do have a bone to pick with you, and I don't know if the people got to see that first part, but I think you've started something.
Deja vu, I swear.
Deja vu all over again. You send these little clips and stuff, and hey, Marty, what's this? What's this doing? Mike King, I'm going to say it.
I know, Mike. Yeah, Mike King.
Enunciate, Mike King. He's this last week. He sent me a video, and it was of a machine that was doing something weird. And it's like, hey, Marty, what's this? What's it doing? And I thought, are you with John? This is Tuesday, right?
I think he's with me in spirit. I think we could text, things like that. I needed my number out. So. And
I think you have some stuff for me tonight that kind of relates to what his problem was, but he was having a espresso machine that was screaming anytime the pump ran. Yeah. And bottom line was it was the expansion valve relieving excess pressure pump was
really?
way too high.
That's interesting? I have a video of that today for us. I think
can make some funny sounds when that's screaming.
I actually had to cut down. I have like 20 videos on my phone, and I was taking pictures like, oh, Marty's got to see this. Marty's got to see that. I even like I Facebook messaged you Sunday morning at 8 a.m. like, hey Marty, what do you think of this? And I'm just like, oh God. Why am I doing this on a Sunday morning to Marty? This is terrible. I got to like back off. I mean, I know I want to like talk and get all this free advice and all this like free tech support. And I'm like, I don't know.
It's all good. And like I tell everybody, if I don't have time to deal with it, I won't, but send it. It's there.
Well, anyway, so like all this tech talk stuff is great, but I just to reiterate, I think I might have, I've said this before and again, it's just like all this equipment is used by baristas, and without baristas, this equipment is worthless. And if there are no baristas, it changes the culture and the quality and the mentality of the entire industry. And right now, that is it's a tough spot to be in as
absolutely
as a barista. I've been one in the past a long time ago, and it was about tips, raising a 2-year-old, being married, being a barista, getting tips. That's it. And those tips matter. So when I heard about GoFundMe, and also the virtual tip jars this year, and all this other type of support that is coming out from the barista world and the coffee world and community, it's cool. But we got to talk about it, and hopefully we can get some people more interested, not just for tonight, but maybe in the long term. And I know that you and I, and also Barista Magazine, kind of dedicated about 1,000 hopefully new subscribers to this channel. But whether or not that happens, we're going to get there, Marty. We just might
More
not get there this
importantly,
week.
so one way or another, we're gonna get $1,000 thrown into that kitty.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe by the end of the year. How about we do
Somehow.
that? Like
Well,
at the end of the year, we're going to keep on adding to it. So
It's
anyway,
going to happen. The bottom line is, I like what these guys are doing. I like, John, I like that you brought them on, because really, honestly, we have to help each other. We've got to do it. We've got to.
and all you have to do for $1, I know this is, just push the button that says subscribe, and that's $1. And then you can go to GoFundMe and then also donate $1
here's the
or
deal.
$5 or $10 or whatever you want.
The subscriber, they don't have to give the dollar.
No,
dollar's coming from us.
I'm just like, I have $1 in my pocket. I don't want it. Well, I mean, I do want it.
Exactly.
I just want to use
so,
it.
So now if they want to give another $1, we'll figure that out. But
yeah,
but no,
and you can't really tip baristas right now anyway that
subscribe.
well. It's hard to do.
We
so this is an easy way to do it. And exactly. if you own a large company or something like that, right? You can also like I think there's grant programs you can like reach out to them about and do some funding there. But I think I don't really know any of that, so I'm going to leave it to the board members to talk about. And we're already running late because we had technical difficulties. So this is GoFundMe. There it is. Ta-da. Check it out. And there's Tommy and Michelle. There they are. Number 16.
I hadn't seen those pictures before. That they look great.
There they are. They're like I like the green halo that everybody gets every week. It's very green halo. Yeah.
Green.
We're gonna get to know Marty this week. One word answer, okay? Okay. One word. Just say A, B, C, or D, because A is a word if you play Scrabble, or B. But anyway, which music description best suits your personality? Alt, banjo, country, neoliberal, classical, near death metal, or nuclear war jazz orchestra, 1982, specifically 1982.
I'm going to say easy listening.
Okay.
I'm going to go.
So that's neoliberal classical. So you're really into capitalism. That's cool. Okay. What is your favorite pizza topping? Remember.
Pepperoni. You know, why not?
Which subject matter in high school did you least enjoy?
Anything mathematical.
Okay, we'll call that chemistry. Okay, what is the color of the house you grew up in?
It was white. Blue trim, white.
Which city did you meet your spouse? Sorry.
I must be missing something. We've got people in the background just going crazy.
All right, yeah. Well, anyway.
I'm in here. You know, John, those mysteriously seem like security questions.
Yeah, just let me go. All right. So
is that like Google login? Yeah.
I don't know. It could have been, but I told you that. But we had this pre-conversation that Marty was going to lie about all that, so I think that worked. Maybe not. I don't know. But anyway, we can mute that out later. So this is a Strata that's been in the
now that's more entertaining. They don't care about what color my damn house was. Come on.
I think it was yellow, but so I think that this was the machine has been sitting for 11 months in storage, and the manager called me and said, hey, we got the gaskets are leaking, or the group heads are leaking. And so I went in there, I turned it on, and after it kind of warmed up for a while, something changed. But in the meantime, I was watching this. So when you have this is an MP Strata, it would only go to 7 bars on the first group head. The second group head got up to about, I think, 8. And then the third group head kind of got up to 8.
Okay. That could be a gauge difference, but.
And after it warmed up, it stopped leaking pretty much. And now it doesn't even leak at all, he said. So.
Well, that's good. You lucked out. Things do kind of swell and kind of fill gaps and stuff. When you get things heated up.
So is it worth kind of like taking this apart and like rebuilding each group head? Because I think the Strata group heads rebuild is a little costly, isn't it?
It's not horrible. It depends on which generation O-rings and stuff you end up using, but it's it's something you have to do periodically anyway. If I don't know, if it stopped leaking, I'd ride it out. But that's rebuilding the roof heads is something you need to schedule on an ongoing basis anyway.
Yeah. So, and when you're looking at the pressure on each one of these manual paddles, it's not like a standard linea where you can just take the external pump and just kind of adjust it. These work differently. Is that correct? So
again, which strata do you have? Does it have a single pump? Does it have multiple variable speed pumps? There are some options there. What do you have? What was this?
It was an MP. I don't know. I have to think. I have to figure that out. So that wasn't a good one. Oh well.
Back at you. No, that's fine. That's fine.
But yeah, that would just kind of when I was looking for the pump, I couldn't. It seemed like there is an external pump, right? And then each one has their own pumps, right? For each group.
Well, it again, it kind of depends. There can be an external pump and internal pumps for each one, or you could set it up. Many of those stratas are set up with no external pump and individual pumps inside to run each group. In that situation, you're using city water pressure to fill your steam boiler.
But in general, do you think
it's a lot of flexibility there? You have to order it in a configuration.
Do you think that's basically like a clogged jet on the first one?
Yeah, I'm guessing that because you said it sat. Here's something that happens. I don't know if there's people into wine out there, the term precipitation, and we've used that term here on this show. Your wine bottles, after they've sat on the shelf for a while and you pick it up, those little bitty balls of stuff that have sediment that's in the bottom, those are particles that were suspended and they found each other and collected into a little ball and fell to the bottom of the bottle. It's called precipitation. Espresso machines do the same thing with the minerals in the water when they're setting a long period of time. They'll precipitate the minerals out of the water, they'll fall down in the bottom, and guess what? They're going to get clogged in the gigglers.
So that's another project on top of the leaking.
Yeah.
Each one, the group heads. Okay, well, that's a fun project. So that one, we tabled that one for later because it works just fine otherwise. So this one I've got at home. This is a little Astra machine, but when I flip the switch, all it does is just kind of it does this, right? And it pulls a really good shot.
I know we covered it, but because you said that with no water pressure onto it at all, that gauge is still maxed out, so the pump's probably not there.
Right. And so like this tube here, this tube here, see all that water coming out? That's from an expansion valve, right? So that's a pretty good sign that there's just way too much, that pump is dialed way too high. Is that right?
Yeah, it's either got a stuck regulator on the pump or the pump has just been adjusted too high. Industry standard, you'll find some of them out there that vary from this, but most of them are set to relieve that pressure at 12 bar.
And so like, if you don't have a gauge that works properly, like this machine here, you're not going to be able to really know where you're supposed to dial in unless you have a SCASE or something like that. And I don't have
right. Now what you can do, and this is what I would do on this, is I would fire that thing up, have that water coming out of that expansion valve relief, turn it down to where it stops that, and then go a little bit further.
That's right.
And I would order that gauge so that when it gets here, you can bring it in right.
And maybe 8 bars of pressure is all right, or maybe 10 bars of pressure is all right. You just like make a different roast, level and just kind of dial it in and get a 10 bar pressure.
9 bar. There's no law. There's no 9 bar police out there.
Right.
We've got shops here in the Midwest that are by design. They're pulling really, really good shots. 4.5, 5 bar.
All right.
That's what they want to do.
I want to get to GoFundMe board members. This is kind of like, this stuff's all right, but I just want to get through it because we have to do it. And it's like, people are starting to call us and we got to do it. So what is this? Do you like how I made it different, like green and white this time? I don't know.
I like that.
All right. I think that
graphic.
I think this is going to be really really easy for you. So I just tried to make it like a really bad photo of just like pixelated, really blown up. And it might not be in the right shape or size or anything like that. But what is that? Can you
This
tell me
is
what
what
that
we've
is?
come to. Struggling.
I even tried to paint it a little bit, paint by numbers.
Oh,
It might not be like the right.
you know what? Here's what I think. Let me tell you what I think. I think it's probably the end plate or the end of a front boiler on a either a Slayer or like a Synesso.
I don't know. Maybe. What is that?
Well, that's going to be a control board.
For what? Yeah. I mean, you got it. You got it. It was like that easy.
Okay.
I mean, what I tried to do for this picture was like turn it sideways and then pixelate it and blow it up so you couldn't really tell what it was. But
Well,
I think like having Tommy on the show, maybe that was a kind of a dead giveaway. I don't know.
Yes and no. I see a sensor there,
right? And so you knew it was either a Synesso or a Slayer because of the way that the group head was assembled, basically.
Yeah.
And this,
and then that,
like
I mean,
that's
definitely Slayer or Synesso similar, and your graphic is bad enough. It could be either one.
And it's upside down too. You like that? I like that. This was upside down and backwards, I think.
Upside down. I love that. I love
and this
that.
one, and that's a drain assembly, right? All right.
Well,
Anyway, that was
box.
Slayer.
Yeah, great machine, by the way. Great machine.
That's all right.
US made.
I don't have one. I've never played on one. I can't speak to it. I've seen other people play on them, and I would love. Actually, that's not true. I had one shot on a Slayer. Oh, so many years ago in Seattle. It was like a Guatemalan, and they were pulling it like 40 seconds or something like that, 45 seconds. I was like, "What are you doing?" And they're like, "Well, variable pressure profiling." I'm like, "Whoa, this is crazy."
Hey, we could spend, John, we could spend an entire show on defining pre-brew versus pre-infusion, that the whole Slayer concept and how it relates to your grind coarseness. And you really don't have a Slayer shot unless you really don't have a Slayer shot unless you accompany that with your grinder.
Hey, Marty, I've got this too. What is the name of this testing procedure? And I don't know why I put this in here. I'm gonna bring in Tommy and Michelle. Maybe they can help us. I don't know why anybody would
bring those guests in. That'd be a nice segue to get this party started.
So I was like, hey Tommy, hey Michelle, how's it going?
What's up?
Hey Tommy, so like we kind of talked a little bit, Marty. I was like, hey, Tommy, give me some stuff from, Slayer so I could share. And I found this and I was like, this is a testing procedure. Does anybody know what this is?
No.
I'll just go to the next one because it's kind of, I don't know. You just do this. Like Slayer's it's called a catch test steam test. Isn't that cool? Like you could learn a lot if you just go to Slayer and talk to Tommy. That was the whole point of this. That was like my segue from like tech world.
Now, not to be confused, you said catch test steam. Well, the steam is the name of the machine. It's the model of the machine.
Like with a little X.
Yeah,
right?
You don't do a catch test on the steam circuit.
The test is specific to a certain model.
So I thought it was like you have a steam pitcher and you're catching it.
No, you're catching the water flow through the coffee side of it, through the group. And
isn't that cool?
Yeah, it is. It's to tell you, is this flowing correctly? Is it flowing? Is there a restriction?
Maybe my humor is just like way
Am I right,
off
Tommy?
today. I don't know.
Can I have a thumbs up, Tommy? Is that right?
Nailed it. Yep. It's a way to measure flow rates from group to group. Exactly. Make sure everything's calibrated.
Wasn't that fun?
I mean,
I don't know if my humor didn't really work on that. I'm just like failing today. So GoFundBean, Tommy and Michelle, you're here. How's it going? GoFundBean, what's this about? And thank you for making the time to be here on Coffee Tech Talk on Tuesday, Giving Tuesday. What's this all about? Michelle, introduce yourself.
Hi. Well, my name is Michelle Johnson. I'm one of the board members for GoFundBean, and I am out there in the coffee world doing a ton of different things. You might know the chocolate barista, maybe, maybe not. I'm her, she is me. And yeah, I live in LA out here still doing coffee things.
And I saw you at a symposium. I mean, you're like every year, right? I mean, I saw you on stage and you were talking about this really cool, buying practices, McDonald's, and looking at, deeper evaluations of how people are purchasing coffee through certifications.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a fun talk to do. But if you were to ask me now to do that talk, I would do a deeper evaluation and not cape for a capitalist corporate company like McDonald's.
Well, I mean, it was interesting. It was
great. No, yeah, I had a great time, and it was a nice way for me to stretch my range of different types of talks that I could do. So it was still fun. I was happy for the opportunity.
Yeah, it was awesome. Tommy, how are you doing? And I said something about Slayer, so I know you're with Slayer, right?
Yeah, I'm Tommy. Hey, and
Tommy.
I am also on the board of GoFundMe. Yeah, I work for Slayer, the espresso machine company. I live here in New York City, but Slayer's based in Seattle. I am the East Coast guy.
And you had a pen. Could you show that pen? It's that.
Oh yeah, shameless plug for Workbench Coffee Labs.
Where is that?
Hey,
wait.
That's
Marty, did you know that?
Oh,
did you get a chance though? No joke.
That's great.
The click action on this thing, fantastic. A dream. The ink glides. It's a very nice pen.
I would like one.
Only the best.
That is me unashamedly asking for some swag.
Yeah, I could use some too, Marty. I could come. I'll just drive down and get a couple pens.
It's in the mail. I'll get it. Thank you. I've got it. Got you covered.
So I snagged a bunch of these graphics for the rest of the show off of their website and Instagram, because I was like, well, that's easy. Just click and cut and paste. So you've got support hourly coffee workers Giving Tuesday, December 1st, 2020. That's today. That's kind of cool. So what's GoFundMe about, and when did it start? Who wants to take that?
Go ahead, Tommy.
Tommy.
Cool. GoFundMe started mostly as an effort from our founder, Adam, and he kind of made this like website aggregate thing that collected just individual baristas GoFundMes for like assorted issues, and then as the pandemic set in, it became a place to sort of aggregate a lot of tip jars for businesses that had to close, where their employees were very tip dependent. In theory, the idea is those tips would be dispersed to those employees at the beginning of the pandemic when everything closed. And what that does is that highlights a pretty specific, like, big deal issue, right? Like, hourly coffee workers are the backbone of, when you think about like the coffee business, right? It's easy to kind of spiral out into this international thing, which is a totally thing one should do. But on the domestic end, the hourly coffee worker is the person behind in the cafe handing you a drink, is the person at a roastery roasting coffee, is the person just bagging up and shipping out roasted coffee, is the person fixing your coffee machines. The hourly coffee worker is the backbone of coffee consumption in a lot of ways in our industry. And they are, in a lot of ways, the most vulnerable people in our industry from like a socioeconomic financial perspective. So GoFundMe, like basically Adam started all these, he created a centralized website to sort of show all these places where you could give money to people who are the backbone of coffee commerce in America, and they are the most vulnerable. So it's him kind of stitching together, weaving together a safety net, and so based on other things other people are doing. And it's, I think it's, I'm thanks so much for giving us time and space on your show for this.
Yeah,
but also like
thank you.
Actually, it's all right.
It's really hard and sad to watch these sort of like feel good stories about people helping other people out at a hard time, when it's like that should be built in, that should be de facto. This isn't like an opportunity to show people being good to each other. It's an opportunity to show like shortcomings of a larger systemic problem.
And this
Absolutely.
is like, I feel like GoFundMe has opened up like a clear view of these inequalities that have been happening literally since the beginning of the coffee industry, especially in specialty. And it just was something that was kind of taboo to talk about before, where you had these whisper networks of coffee shops that don't pay enough or owners stealing tips and things like that. And it's just showing like these inequities aren't just a thing now because of the pandemic. It just blew it up. And now I feel like as a squad, we're all just trying to figure out how to, like Tommy said, weave together that safety net and make it so that future hourly coffee workers aren't just like held out over the cliff with nothing underneath them.
I'm just like it's just a, I have a lot of friends that are baristas. Obviously, everybody here probably does. We're in the industry, but locally in Lincoln, it's been tough. I mean, Dietrich, you know, who's producing, like, you know, the shops are not really, we're in another lockdown again. So that means we can't tip baristas. And sometimes even if you're trying to tip a barista, they're just, you know, you take a credit card, they swipe it, you can't, and you like, you have to make it so much. It's such a harder thing to do as a consumer to even get that money to a barista. And that's why I love this, the virtual tip jar and the other activities that GoFundBean are doing, because it's going above and beyond just that that retail transaction, but, you know, building a safety network. So you have a pretty good group of people behind you right now. I mean, you two, and then also how many other board members are helping this organization go on? Like about 6 others, 5 or 6?
About 7 of us total.
I think there's 7 of us. It's definitely an odd number because of voting reasons.
I won't ask you all of their names, and that would be embarrassing.
No, you can go to GoFundBean.org or
Yeah.
GoFundBean.com. We got like
Right.
the whole board is there for the sake of transparency. If you want to like get a peek at all that. I kind of talked about how GoFundBean kind of, you know, started out, but Michelle, if you want to talk about like what we're doing right now.
Yeah. So it has grown into just being this like massive place for, we just want to give out money. That's like, honestly, there is like no being fancy about it. We just want to collect money to give out money.
We're like Oprah in 1999. Look under your chair.
Yeah.
And you're doing it in a really cool way, because like one of the things I saw was like a 80%, 20% nonprofits, you know, and you're like right out in front saying, you know, there's administration costs of 20%, 80% goes to the program. And that, you know, is an important thing to recognize. You know, at least I come from nonprofit work in my day job. And that's something that everybody should recognize, that everything, that there is admin costs, but the percentage you put towards a program is really, really cool. 80% is a lot. And that's impressive. And also, I have a bunch of questions for you, and maybe this is like, you know, to Michelle, as far as like what's GoFundBean doing. I think, how did you both get involved with GoFundBean? If you want to answer that, yeah. How did you both get into GoFundBean?
Well, Adam is a really close friend of mine, and we used to like kiki when I would visit DC. DV coffee all day. Tommy's also from DC. And Adam
gang.
He and I were just kind of going back and forth, and he was throwing this idea at me, and then was like, well, do you want to be on the board? And I was like, I ain't got nothing to do. I just got laid off. So here we are. And you know, my whole thing with all the stuff that I've been doing with the chocolate barista and just like my career as a whole, giving back is such a huge part of my just like personal and professional ethos. So this was like the perfect opportunity to be able to work with a group of people to get money into the hands of people that needed it.
Tommy, how did you get involved?
How did I get involved? Before I get into that, like, you know.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, I mean, so like GoFundMe right now is like a big focus of like what we're doing presently is issuing grants, cash grants to people who make their living hourly in the coffee business, regardless of their like specific job, right? So baristas, people who work production, people who do roasting, coffee technicians, like whoever. If you get paid by the hour, you don't get benefits, you're eligible for a grant, like no questions asked. And again, it's cash grants. So, you know, like we just started giving out grants in September. To date, we've already given about 23K. to 61 people, right? So the idea is, again, it's a very vulnerable part of the industry. And I think probably everybody here, like we all have coffee jobs. We all have like a presence in the coffee industry. That came from being an hourly coffee worker, whether or not you work hourly to the now, or, you definitely started that way, right? So how did I get involved? Also from DC, like Michelle said. And I'm not actually super close to Adam. I've always been sort of like on the periphery of his thing, and he's always been sort of the periphery of mine. And he kind of just asked me one day if I'd be interested in doing that, and I wanted to know more about it before I committed to it. Yeah. I mean, I've always been super, again, we're like peripherally connected, but I'm not like super close to the guy.
Well, that's cool that you're donating your time to this and really putting some effort into it. I think that's great. And I'm glad that you're here to talk about it too. That's really important. And you were talking about this grant program. How many grants have you given out, and how many? I see that there was an applications now open. I don't know if this is probably closed or open. I'm not sure if that's still. How does the grant program work, kind of in a nutshell, super quick, and then we'll go to the 5 other things.
Yeah. There's a direct relation between grants we give and how much money we have received from people, right? There's a few ways for us to, our fundraising right now is pretty passive. There are people who donate money to us through various channels. If you are interested in donating money to us, there's if you go to our website, there's information on that if you're interested in doing that. We have a Patreon situation, but there's a few other things too. We cannot legally solicit donations.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, Patreon, that's a question I had. Check it out. I wrote it down.
Bang, bang.
Patreon is new to me. What's this about? I don't get it. And then I heard it's like subscriptions, like, you just keep giving me money every month. And I'm like, that's brilliant. I'll do that.
Yes.
Well, I can tell you how Patreon, Michelle can tell you how Patreon works.
So Patreon, you give us money every month, and we will give you really awesome content that is like useful to your life as an hourly coffee worker. So more than just giving money, we're also trying to give resources. So we tap into industry leaders of not just like the coffee industry, but other people as well. So for example, on Thursday, there's a bean development class with someone named Jess, who is going to be talking about developing your own brand voice on social media, which I'm like super interested in, because one of the cool things about just like the future of GoFundMe is, as we start to give resources, we want to give people resources on not just like the traditional means of building a coffee career, because one of the biggest bars to entry for being an hourly coffee worker and making it your career is access to education, information, and then just like whether the door is closed or open in front of you, and if someone is willing to open or close that door. So we want to give people all of the tools to be able to, have the information that they need, whether they want to become a roaster, if they want to have their own company, or if they want to do some like untraditional means of being in the coffee industry, doing more creative stuff. All of that, we're just going to give it all. So you can get that first if you're a Patreon member. And then eventually, after about a month or so, we make it accessible to everybody publicly for free.
That's awesome. I'm going to send a bunch of people your way, because like this last weekend I had a lot of people asking me like, how do you prepare for the Q grade? Like, what's triangulation? I have a Linez kit, but I don't have another Linez kit. So is that something where we could send them to you, and maybe they can get some better networking abilities and say like, hey, maybe this is how you learn more about these kind of things, or call Marty, you've got some stuff happening down there. Maybe we can get some people to like get some grants to get them down in KC so they can learn those skills and those tools, because education's, unfortunately, I mean, it should be free, but it's not. And any which way we can make that happen sooner or later, I'm all about it. But it is hard to get educated and to find the right people. I mean,
yeah, it's really great that you brought that up, because we are actually developing a mentorship program right now that is coming in the new year. Details eventually, but look out for that, because that's going to be like the beginning of hopefully just creating that type of open relationship for information that we should have had this whole time, but we're gonna do it now.
Yeah, and you know who the best mentor is for me right now? He's right there, Marty, right there. That guy. He knows everything times two. So like and so far he hasn't made me pay yet. So like but I'm kind of I kind of like splash out Workbench coffee.
We're slow at billing, John. We're slow.
Yeah, well, I know that, but I'm but I appreciate
slow to
it.
bill, quick to chill though.
So finding a mentor is really
sort of point out that GoFundMe exists again as we are slowly weaving together a certain amount of security, right? A net to support people when their hourly work cannot provide for them, right? So what does that look like? That looks like cash grants to kind of get them through there right now. That looks like one of your questions is, what is the Stay Grounded initiative?
Right. Yeah. What is that? Yeah.
Through some cooperation with a few people with Oatly, we've been able to secure some funding that pays for some. Yeah, there you go. We're providing. You guys do a lot of good background work. I feel like the prep work y'all do, it's like that show Hot Ones, no chicken.
No, I just go to your Instagram and was like, what are they up to? Cool. This is awesome. And I checked out. I'm like, I need some of that talk space right now. It's been a rough year. And I haven't even had a bad year compared to some people. Like I have a job, that's how lucky I am. And that's not the conversation that I need to have with them.
We're still in a pandemic.
Yeah, it's tough. And this is
it's a global crisis. You're entitled to have some hard times, and
you
so
better
basically
be having a hard time.
This initiative is just we're giving this is another round of grants essentially, and this grant is, instead of just being a cash grant, is 3 months of mental health services. So we're basically giving like a 3-month subscription to Talkspace, which is access to LCSW style therapists for 3 months, which is, a huge deal. As a person who's been in therapy for like a decade, my sanity, my well-being is hugely attributed to being able to like have access to a resource like that. And if you can give access to a resource like that to somebody who makes, in some places, minimum wage plus tips, I mean, come on. Absolutely.
And probably without health insurance.
Yeah.
I mean, in most cases, right? I mean,
again,
I don't know.
so
it depends.
Again, for a category of people who are the backbone of commerce in the coffee industry, and if we look at the coffee industry today, right, like we're in this weird place where we're experiencing the commodification of specialty, but also the specialization of commodity, and like those two circles in that Venn diagram are getting like inching closer and closer towards each other. Either they're inching closer towards each other, or they are like swelling so that they're overlapping. Gross, right?
That's like blowing my mind. It's like half empty, half full, but maybe the same conversation. Like it could be going both ways. I don't know.
Yeah,
so what's this
like
tip jar? Was this kind of like the beginning idea concept, and then it just kind of grew from there? Was this like the first initiative, right?
The Big Bang, if you will, of GoFundMe.
First there was nothing, and then there was virtual tip jars.
Yes. I'm an astronomy nerd, and I love making metaphors like that. But yeah, it started out with just tip jars, and Adam was like, I want to do more than this. Is there a way to make this bigger than what it is, potentially more sustainable while still like having it be a thing? Because you can still add to the tip jars. They're still up, but we want to be able to give people more money, but we want to give more people more money.
What is this about?
Oh, come together.
Have you heard about this? I haven't. I didn't. This was on, obviously, I think this is on Instagram. Just like kind of screenshot this, but like, what is this about? Because I have not heard about the relaunch of Come Together with, I know
Come Together. I was on the selection committee for Come Together, which was like a secret group of very tight people who got to, instead of deciding like hourly coffee workers who got money, we got to go through applications from cafes that were struggling and needed to get, grants to be able to make it through the pandemic. So they're like very closely related. but it's just like catered to cafes and coffee businesses, so that they can, continue to keep their people on staff and keep running, and also be a part of their communities. Because a lot of, like, as we've seen throughout the pandemic, a lot of the coffee businesses specifically, there were, a ton of cafes who applied for the PPP loans, and most of them that were like Black and brown owned did not get any money. And most of those businesses as well, pretty high percentage, have also closed and are probably going to close. So it's just another way of, a group of people trying to do their part to keep these places around, because we need them. We want them around.
Totally. Well, I think that's all my bullet points.
You've blown my mind. You've blown my mind. I usually take notes during.
You've got a notepad
during these sessions.
Hey, is that a workbench notepad? Because it goes great with the pens. Yes,
Really
I have the
plugging
notepad.
workbench merch.
I like that. That workbench pad is really nice. I should go
Speaking
get
of
mine.
merch, if you sign up for GoFundMe's Patreon, you can get one of these.
Holy
sick
smokes!
GoFundMe
Is that a 20 ouncer? What is that?
I can fit all my fingers in the mug handle. Check that out. Bong bong.
Nice.
That is awesome. But I wanted to say I only took one note. You guys have blown my mind. I don't know if you can read this. It says more than just a tip jar. And
Yeah.
that you guys have blown my mind.
So how have you go?
Well, it's just obviously you started with the tip jar because that was the immediate need. And it is just truly blossomed from there. The directions you guys are going, hats off. Great job. Keep it up. And yeah, you've got my wheels turning how I can help.
You can help a lot, Marty. Absolutely. You can also not only subscribe to this channel and we'll give $1, but like anybody who's watching this can easily just go to GoFundMe.org, and I heard .com because I went to both of them. They both work, so that was kind of clever. I was like, oh, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a big button, you just push it, and then it's just, it's real easy to give money. Giving Tuesday.
John said it. Tommy did not say it. We're not legally. We didn't say anything.
Oh, I'm not supposed to say anything?
No,
No, you're allowed to say anything you want.
Even if you told me I should? You didn't. No one's. Oh, that's crazy. Maybe I shouldn't be. Am I legally not? Should I not say
you're
that?
totally allowed to.
Because Marty was like sweating me last week, like I couldn't show my beer, and then I'm just like, oh my, I'm breaking all these rules, and I'm like, oh,
my
it's
gin
like
and tea cocktail, so you're good.
yeah, no
I'm
one's
doing like a
watching us
late-night talk
anyway.
show, drinking it out of a mug, my man. Come on.
Right. I mean, I'm done.
Hey, we're in COVID. All is fair.
Exactly.
And hey, this is all live stream, Marty, too. Like I am sorry that I asked you for your secret passwords for your bank account, but you threw me under the bus when I didn't know anything about that espresso machine. Like, it has an external pump, and I'm like, well, yeah, it probably does, doesn't it? But hey, I mean, just change your password. You'll be all good. But actually, if you didn't know that there were like usual questions that you would ask, then you just don't ask them. And we were lying anyway. It wasn't the truth. I know where you grew up.
You had
It was a
me.
great house.
I was drawn in, man. I was there.
Yeah, with Mr. King. What was his name? Mike King?
Mike
yeah,
King.
that was a good one. Yeah, we're getting a lot of calls. Yeah, so if you have any questions about any tech work, just call Marty. Marty on a Sunday morning at 8 a.m. is the best time to get in touch with them, or 2:30 on a Thursday night.
Thanks, John.
Thursday morning.
So I'll pop in and we'll read through some of the comments. Sarah Dooley was checking in saying hi, Michelle, and hi, Tommy.
Hi, Sarah.
Laura Clark said that you can play on her KC or her Slayer in KC, John, if you ever wanted. Work on
awesome.
Slayer.
Yow!
Does she have a single group at home, Laura? Is it at home? Do you have a single group at home? Why do you have one at home? That's awesome.
Jacob Smith popped in to say hi. He was just thought it was cool that it wasn't just solely for baristas. So maybe if you guys want to talk a little bit about how this has been more than just baristas in the coffee community, I think that was a cool topic that Jacob wanted to touch on. And then other than that, everybody else was saying hi.
What's up, y'all?
Eh,
We out here.
Oh yeah, but Laura did say that it's not at her house, it's at PT. So yeah, there we go. Okay. That's in your neck of the woods too, right, Marty?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
come down. We'll do
Oh,
we'll do a
Laura
field
said
trip.
it's at PTS. She has a steam. She has a steam and a beauty.
oh, PTs. I was like, maybe you're saying
PTs.
PTS, PTSDs.
No, PTs.
Yeah, we're all kind of struggling. Anyway, so thanks for joining us. I think that's our show. Marty, do you got anything else you guys want to talk about?
No, just a huge thank you to you guys and the group you've put together and
Yeah.
the beneficiaries. I you know what I did? I did have one other note. Beneficiaries or people that can benefit from your efforts. Is there working, non-working, lower tips, non-working? You know,
we're not here to measure
Different.
your how much you're doing.
Okay.
It's like, do you need it?
Do you need
Basically,
it?
like the grant giving process is not, there's not like means testing necessarily, right? It's
Okay.
not like qualified to receive funding. It's like, are you having a hard time? If I can give it to you and you need it, we will give it to you. Yeah, like there's no like, you got to qualify. I don't need to hear like a sob story necessarily. It's, you know, if you're an hourly, if you derive your home revenue from hourly coffee work, come visit GoFundBean. Follow us on Instagram at GoFundBean. And we post regularly when grant applications are open, when grant applications are closed. We try to make grants available as often as possible. If you do not make your living from hourly coffee work, all of our grants are given based on how much money we have to give people. So holler at your people. Follow us on social media, and you know, you can find opportunities to donate in a lot of different ways. And if you're interested in donating in a significant way and have an agenda with how you would like to donate, you know, get at us too. There's a contact page on our website. For example, the initiative we were talking about earlier about mental health, that was something that like we coordinated with Oatly, and all those funds were specifically dedicated to providing mental health services, right? So like if you've got an agenda, if you are a beneficiary of hourly coffee work, couldn't contribute, right? I mean, you know, it's the least you could do.
And Tommy, Michelle, I have a question for you guys as well. Since you guys have been a part of GoFundBean, like since you've joined in, what have been some of the surprising things to you about the coffee industry that you've learned about since becoming a part of this organization?
Well, nothing.
Anything that stood out to you guys?
Sorry, that was really realistic. Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, nothing.
Nothing
worries,
new,
yeah,
man.
like-
Nothing new. It's kind of like what you expected, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
But is there been any specific challenges or things that you guys have kind of overcome in this organization that you weren't expecting to run into?
I mean, if you ask me, it's nothing and everything, right? Like, I think, you know, on the one hand, it's not surprising to see how vulnerable people who live on an hourly basis are. But on the other hand, it's sometimes startling, right? And similarly, when we receive funding, sometimes that's surprising. But on the other hand, it's also not super surprising where that funding comes from, right? So, you know, sometimes we see some really, really generous stuff, and that's, you know, super, super impressive and super touching. But sometimes when you look back at it, it's like, oh, I guess that isn't that surprising, right? So
I think
yeah.
something else may also be just like wanting to do everything all at once. Like we wish we were just superheroes and could just like wave a wand and like make all of these issues go away and have unlimited funding and just be dishing out, you know, money and resources all the time. And, you know, we have a lot of our meetings are just throwing out ideas and like, how can we do this? Can we do that? And it's just a lot of, you know, it's time and waiting and letting things just like fester and grow and building it. You know, it takes a lot of time to build a nonprofit. And, you know, but it's the Lord's work, and we are very, very happy to be doing it. So.
And then how many applications have you guys had since you started?
That's an excellent question. We've issued 61 grants to date. We just finished receiving applications for that mental health grant.
Yeah, there were 40 of those, 40
there were
applications.
40.
Stay grounded. Yeah.
But I mean, applications received, I mean, honestly, that's like the hardest, worst part of the thing, right? It's like we have some funding and we're excited to give that funding, but it's also like, it's like way more people that would benefit from the funding than we're able to support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to put a number.
So that's probably a difficult process then for you guys as well. What goes into that process, kind of deciding who gets funding and who has to
The
wait a little
vetting
bit longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really brutal.
Well, we appreciate the work and the time that you put into it, and hope that we see that, you know, if we could do our part to spread the word here with Coffee Tech Talk, and this will be on YouTube for as long as you all want it to be. Marty, if you want to pull this episode, we can do it. We'll just chop you right out.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
We're going to keep this up, and you just, like, you know, if people want to learn more about it, they can watch this episode. Just go to GoFundMe.com or .org. I like .com because it's easier. It still goes to .org, but you know, .org.com. Just GoFundMe. It's all good. And do you want to go around and just let everybody know how they can get in touch with you all? Marty, do you want to start, or do you want to start with me? Like, I'm John. I'm here.
Yeah,
You can get in touch with me here.
let's finish up with our guests. So
Yeah.
so
So
yeah,
Marty, where are you at?
just keep tabs on workbenchcoffeelabs.com for the upcoming. We're launching our online classes, the 1 hour long mini classes. They're not quite ready yet, but we're getting there. So keep track of that. Workbenchcoffeelabs.com.
And what a great way to find a mentor there. So like, if you want to, you guys should work with Marty here or something, get some grant stuff going, because we're talking about Ohm's law. I don't even know what it is, but it's like a triangle, and it's like something. And if you don't know it, you could hurt yourself.
Watts, volts, amps, get out of here.
When
Right?
Marty earlier said that math was
Volts.
his favorite subject, I was offended because I was a math major in college.
Nice.
Volts times amps equals what?
Oh, ouch. Yeah, we could leave it at that. That just kind of broke all the barriers there, man. That was great. Okay, so, wow. Watt. Yeah. All right.
Turn down for Watt.
Tommy, you want to go next? Because you're on the next, unless Dietrich, you want to let people know. Dietrich's our producer. He's the guy in the sky. Tommy?
Hey, I'm Tommy Gallagher. If you want to be, I'm on the gram. It's at Yen is my mom. Yen, Y-E-N. She's my mom. That's how you do it.
I love that handle. That's awesome.
And also keep up with GoFundMe at GoFundMe. Know what we're doing.
Nice. Michelle, take it away.
Well, it's your girl, Michelle, out here. Tommy did the at GoFundMe plug, but definitely plug into that. And you can find me on Instagram at MEESHAL RJ. It's pronounced Michelle RJ, but I'm Michelle.
we can rewind that. That's no problem. People can like rewind it and pause it. You never have to repeat yourself on the show. It's like, just expect them to do it.
But also at the Chocolate Barista, I am launching some new exciting stuff next year. So stay tuned.
All right, cool. Well, thanks everybody for being on the show. Marty, I'll see you next week, maybe.
John?
I don't know. Dietrich, you know, he keeps on telling me to take a week off, but I'm like, I just found this awesome, this Colombian producer. She's in the north part of like Santa Marta, and we have some people like in that I've been working with in Jaén y Tierra, and there's some people up in Canada. So this might be like a very interesting one, because there's French, Canadian French, and then a little bit of English, a whole lot of Spanish, and I don't know any French, and I know a little bit of Spanish, but she doesn't know any English. And so it'll be a fun episode. It'll be like me going to Origin, be like, so how are we going to have this conversation? And I'm just going to come right out and just be like, this is how bad my Spanish is. But that's going to be cool, because we're going to talk about processing and post-harvest processing stuff with her. So goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.